All right, team. Good afternoon. Happy Sunday, everybody. Welcome aboard to our weekly recap. My name is Carlos Garcia. I'm the founder and CEO of GAR Capital. Glad to be with you here this weekend and every weekend talking about the markets. I love this stuff. Welcome to GAR Capital's YouTube channel. This is your first time here. Make sure to hit that like and subscribe button for all future videos and clips that we have talking about the stock market, crypto, commodities, anything to give us some edge here day trading. Glad to be with you. If you are into the stock market, if you're into day trading, commodities, Bitcoin, and all that jazz, you came to the right spot. Thanks again. Make sure to hit subscribe. We also have a Discord server right over here. I'm going to be talking about this. Well, I can't show it now, but I'll show it here in a second. But I'll go ahead and show you how to get on. Scrolling at the bottom is our information in regards to join our live market blog here on the GAR Capital Discord. If you are interested in some of our paid services, make sure to go to our website, www.gar.capital. Some really great information there. We have the GAR library with some great resources. We have GAR articles. Our YouTube is also on there. So the one-stop shop for all your day trading needs. Join the best team, our team, GAR Capital. Glad to be with you. Let's go ahead and get started. Okay, let me make sure I have this all set. All right, let's rock and roll. So we did close up new all-time highs. Dow was up 208 points. NASDAQ was up 0.24. S&P was up slightly. It doesn't show right now, but if you look at futures, up slightly again. Let's go ahead and start with the recap of the week. How's that? Let's start with option signals. So again, this is the Discord server. This is the options signals division, let's just call it. Last week before this one was pretty rough. We had a lot of expiring contracts on OPEX, but we bounced back very strong. We had NVIDIA calls that hit 40%, hit as high as 89% for August 1. We also have Donut. Yeah, Krispy Kreme. We traded a meme name this week. I talked about that on Sunday with Open Door. I'm going to talk about that here in a bit with Masterclass. But we did catch that Krispy Kreme trade 150%. Perfect exit. Excellent work across the board. If we scroll up, we do have some of our winners there. You can see 30% on NVIDIA, 37%, excuse me. And right in the morning, we took 150% on Krispy Kreme. I know, meme names. Ain't the first time that we traded these names. If you guys remember from 2021, GameStop, AMC, BlackBerry, we traded Express. This is the store, Express. Some of the SPAC names like Clove and Space, Virgin Galactic. So we have at least some experience on trading these kind of wacky, crazy, short squeeze names. Maybe we have some continuation into next week, but at least we did the job and got what we got. Google, August 15, 200 calls. We had those since last week, and they hit 30% twice this past week. Twice before earnings, and then after the fact, we pulled back. I'm going to chart that here together, but if you closed it, you got 30%. If you're still holding, like I am, we're minus 30. And video calls are still open, and Mara calls are still open. Let's pivot to futures. Futures this week, all gold, all the time. S&P 500 at all-time highs. I do not want to chase that. I want to pull back. I want a little bit of a discount. Valuations are very stretched. We're getting into August. You know the drill, guys. August gets a little bumpy, but buybacks are on. So maybe if we have some earnings this week, which we will, and they're talking about increasing stock buybacks, that's going to be a nice bullish signal if we continue on that path of all-time highs in August. Okay, so we did gold long at 33.95. That hit up to TP2 if you held for 20 points. 34.20 along on the 22nd, 10 points on TP1, and gold long at 34.25 TP1 as well. So if you just did TP1s across the board, depending on how you closed, again, it's just signals. That's 30 points. If you held the first one to TP2, you're up 40 for the week. Very, very solid for gold. Unfortunately, we didn't trade any S&P, but that's okay. Straight winning is exactly what I like. Masterclass has been absolutely on fire this whole week. Open calls. Yeah, we talked about that on Sunday. We got as high as 200%. Unfortunately, I did not close that, so I got an L personally. But Webull, 40%. AAL, American Airlines, ahead of earnings, up 30%. And Tesla calls, the 325 calls that we took on Friday, cashed out 40%. I could have waited a little more for 100%, but that flipped too. The only L we got was NVIDIA 177.5 calls that expired this week for Masterclass. All good, but we're still pretty much on fire. 30 out of 33 in Masterclass since March 5th, excuse me, was it May 15th? Excuse me. Very, very solid. We're going to continue. Yes, unfortunately, we get some L's here and there. That's okay. but we keep it moving. So far, so good. We're going to continue this momentum moving forward for Masterclass, which pivots to our Masterclass sale that we have. 50% off if you want to join Masterclass from the price that we offer. It's 5 one-on-one classes with me, particular, Carlos Garcia, your teacher. And I've met many students this year, and they're all doing great. I'm very proud of everybody. We kind of do it in cycles. We get our enrollment period. This is an enrollment period, and then once the new students cycle out and they're actually doing their own thing, and I don't have to speak to them as much, then the new cycle of students come along. Happens, I would say, every couple of weeks or so, but that's how it goes. So Masterclass includes, for now, that's going to change, lifetime signals, but you do get the Masterclass chat room and the extra signals as well, and the one-on-one teaching with me. So fun stuff. So that was our week. We're going to have more details on our week on our GAR articles page. Take a look here under GAR articles. We just had a new one come out, the new market cycle, liquidity, leverage, and the rise of AI. Very, very interesting stuff. I think you guys should check it out. It's free for everyone on our website, www.gar.capital, or make sure to take a look at our Discord server. All right. So we went over what happened this past week. Awesome stuff. Very, very proud. But we're moving on to the new stuff now. So let's go ahead and start with what's coming up. I keep going back and forth with the server. My apologies. Here's the earnings for the week. Oh boy, we got a ton. We got United Health on Tuesday. I'm long United Health in terms of the stock. Been for a while. Visa, SoFi, PayPal, Boeing, UPS, Spotify, Starbucks. Meta's on Wednesday. Microsoft is on Wednesday. Robinhood's on Wednesday. Remember, we've been long Robinhood since 55. Qualcomm reports. Apple reports on Friday. Amazon reports on Friday. Coinbase reports on Friday. Reddit does too. Then you have the energy, Exxon, and Chevron. So a very, very packed week. And then I keep moving it. And we also have a very packed week when it comes to economic data. Tuesday, JOLTS job openings. Wednesday, private non-farm employment change. That's ADP. Remember, last one that didn't do well was a negative reading. Then NFP was strong. Fed funds rate. The expectation is we will not get a rate cut. But if we had a little pressure, which we've had, from the president, who gave Jerome Powell a little nudge live on television regarding the new Fed building, maybe, just maybe, we'll get a 25 basis point cut. Fingers crossed. I don't think that will happen, but I'll give it a 10% chance that it does. Things happen. And if we do get a rate cut on Wednesday, stocks are going to soar. The expectation is no cut, no nothing. So I think the market is just kind of just waiting to confirm that. Core PCE is another inflation reading from that the Fed actually uses. So we're going to keep an eye on that. They don't use CPI as much. They use core PCE for the simple fact that it includes housing and rent. Unemployment claims on Thursday the 31st. July's over, guys. We're into August. Summer is almost over. And then we have average hourly earnings, non-farm payroll reports, ISM, manufacturing PMI, and the unemployment rate. Don't forget, also, revised University of Michigan sentiment. That is a survey, a poll of consumers or consumers, let's say. Watches and charts is up, all focused on earnings this week. Last week, we had a couple of names that did go the way we wanted to. Let's see. Intel fell after earnings, so we didn't trade that. IBM, I said that we would have a breakdown on IBM. So let's take a look at that and where we are and see what we can do from there. We'll go to the daily, and there it is. Upward wedge breakdown. See that IBM on the daily? Upward wedge breakdown. But unfortunately, there was not a lot of volume on those puts, but good to see. CMG, some unusual options activity. A breakout was all expecting. That didn't happen. Take a look at CMG. Same store sales declined. Breakdown from that upward trend line, unfortunately. So got that wrong, but I didn't trade it. Netflix, already reported. Volatility is gone. I still think that we get lower to 1100 is what I said. Options chain was expensive, as I saw, but we're now at 1180. Not exactly where I want to be, but still off the 1209 level that we were. So a little bit of a pullback, but nothing too exciting. AAL, bear flag set up here, ready for puts, was what I first started with, what I first said. The only thing that changed that was the fact that I saw so much money pouring into calls. About $1 million worth of calls on the 12s, on the 13s and the 14s. Pulled back, but it's holding this trend line. I'm still holding AAL calls with Masterclass personally. They may have taken it. I had the 14s. I took those for 30%, but I still have the 13s, I believe for August 15th or so. 1330 is what I'm looking for. We're still holding this upward trend line. If we get a nice bounce, probably because of the Fed and maybe the jobs number, maybe that puts up a little bit higher. So that was the watch list this past week. A couple of wins, I guess, or a couple of things I got right. But unless you make money, it's all for naught. It doesn't really matter. So now let's position ourselves or talk about futures. Futures S&P 500. Hey man, all-time highs. What more can you damn say? Looks great. Awesome. Can we continue this? Absolutely. Absolutely. The problem is trading this at all-time highs. What's your target? What's your stop? That's what you have to talk to yourself every time when you're trading. So S&P, as we are in long time all-time highs, again, I'm just waiting for the pullback. That is eventually going to happen. Yes, but we will take advantage of that when we do. If we do pull back 6170, 6168, that'll be a retest. We have not gotten there. I'm expecting that in August. Let's be ready for that, team. Gold. Finally. I have been saying or trying to short gold now for months, and it's been a very difficult trek. Even this last week, all we did was long on gold. But you could see this trend line breaking down below the 20, below the 50. If we get below 33.25, I want to short at 33.20. I want to target 3,300 for a quick 20 points. And if we continue to fall, I'm looking for the 100-day moving average at 32.51, team. So we have a little bit of room to mess with. So we got about 80, 90 points currently from that downside target. If we get there, I would actually want to play a bounce. But if the stock market continues to go higher and gold has that inverse relationship, as we are seeing at least Sunday, Friday, gold was flat, and yet stocks were all-time highs. 33.25 is what we're looking at. I'll talk to our futures division or futures team when we get there. Okay, let's go over now the market. Let's actually look at NASDAQ together. NASDAQ all-time highs too. I mean, what more can you do? But we have a lot of earnings coming up, so we got to be extremely careful what's going to happen. Let's see if I can bring up the earnings one more time, and we can talk about a couple. All right, so I already have the watch list set for our members, but now let's go ahead, you and me here on YouTube, let's go over a couple of names that I didn't go over on the watch list. So those who are members are going to get a little extra. Make sure you have a pen and pad handy so you can write down these levels. Okay, so we're going to start now with what's reporting on Tuesday before the bell. Let's do that. First one is United Health, and I want to preface this by saying United Health was a name that we talked about on Investment Club Alerts. And here it is. Here's the article that we wrote on 1st of July. Okay, 1st of July. So it's not even a month yet. And you could see how much we've broken down. I was looking at the 300 level as support, but we are below that. I'm still holding. The good news about holding stock, guys, there's no expiry. You can hold as long as you want. So looking at UNH, pretty ugly chart as we can see. The question is, did we hit some kind of support? Do we have a little more to go? I have 247 as pretty much the worst case scenario we do tank. Okay, so let's go ahead and remove these trend lines because I don't need them. There you go. Okay. Looks a little better. You can see this is the level of support I had right around 300, 301. We're below that now. Next level of support. This is the May lows, 245.93. If that breaks down, you have 224 left. And if that breaks, it's good night. I may have to close this trade because 226 is a 200-month moving average. If that breaks down, Lord help us. I don't think that will. I think expectations are so low for this name that I do expect to bounce above 300. What I traded here? No, I already checked the options. It's expensive. Implied volatility works. So I am bullish on United Health. I think it bounces on the expectation of death always when it comes to these names that are downside. Do you guys remember back in 2022, October, when we hit the bottom? How about April of 2025 this year, where the world was ending because of the tariffs and the Liberation Day? Granted, at that time, I couldn't even price stocks because I didn't know what would be the tariff costs or what the rates would be. They were so fluid. So even at those times, it's hard to price these names. United Health, with the DOJ headlines, with valuations, which are actually pretty cheap, but future profit growth, future buybacks, if anything, future dividends, what's going to happen in United Health? Let's listen to the conference call on Tuesday in the morning and see what they say. But I think that we'll be on our path to 300 relatively soon. Let's see what's next on the earnings calendar. Let's do PayPal. PayPal reports on Tuesday before the bell. Let's see if we break this high here of 78.85. I like 82 to around 85 as the target. I think PayPal moves higher. You had your consolidation phase and you finally got your breakout. You just got to hold above 76.66 or so. That's your 200-day. So you could see here kind of an upward trend line now from the lows, which is nice to see. Kind of similar to American Airlines, so let that be a little bit of a worry maybe. But you could see that if we break 78.85, that breaks out the range from really February of 2025 and get us to that gap fill at 85. So I do like PayPal for a long. Let's keep an eye on the volume for that. Let's take a look at Boeing. Boeing has been a name that has been bouncing. There is a gap to fill at 242. If we break 235.45, maybe on Monday, we can trade ahead of it and then take the profits ahead of the earnings. But it looks like we're going to push higher on Boeing. The only concern is the breakout. We had a breakout, we pulled back, we had a breakout, we have yet to retest this price level of 215. That's your downside risk. So I think PayPal's a little bit better of a setup than Boeing, but Boeing may have a little bit of fireworks as we're kind of just consolidating here at the top. So you can see buyers are in control of this stock currently. UPS. I haven't traded UPS since March, I want to say. Downside all day. Haven't seen any unusual options activity. The only thing you're really looking at is if you get a break above 120. That's a downside wedge breakout reversal. See that on the weekly. Imagine that. So we still got a little more to go. I put an alert at 120. If we get there, we can talk. More than likely, we're not going to touch this ahead of earnings. But if you look at the hourly, you do have a cup and handle. A back above 105, 104.50, maybe you can target 110. But I think there's better setups out there than UPS, personally. Let's take a look at Spotify, one name that I never invested in, but yet I'm a customer for years and years and years, and I'm very dumb, but that's okay. We'll look at Spotify here. Bull flag possibly set up, get above 713, 715, that's your 20-day. If you break above that, you got to go long to 800. That's a bull flag setup. Here's your flagpole, bull flag, you need a breakout. If this breaks down, different story. Probably around 640 is 650 is that level of resistance that if we are retesting, that's where we're going to go. So let's place an alert right at 650 and would probably be a good level for those who want to buy the dip, depending on their valuations after earnings. Let's take a look at Metaverse. Metaverse is interesting. There's a trend line here, which is really a channel that we broke down during the Liberation Day tariff stuff. Got to hold 700. Got to hold 700. You could target 750, maybe even 800 after earnings. I think you have to wait after earnings on this one. Meta's going to have a lot of capex to explain in terms of all the AI engineers that they're trying to scoop up from ChatGPT, which is OpenAI. Microsoft owns share or owns a piece of it. But yeah, Meta is going all in with AI. So could be a little bit of a profit taking here, but you're looking at right around 744 or so, 745 for a breakout. I just think it's expensive. We could skip it. If you want to trade it, you could do TQs this week and just target 93. And that gives you the whole NASDAQ, triple leverage, easier to trade in my opinion, because it's cheaper. We'll see where the 90s to 93s in terms of TQs. I like Meta, but again, needs to break that. I think TQs are probably your best bet to trade it. Microsoft, one of our top 10 of 2025. What can I say? There you go. New all-time highs. Microsoft is a fortress. Best balance sheet. One of the best CEOs on this in Silicon Valley. I mean, they got it all. And whoever owns ChatGPT, OpenAI, in my opinion, will be the richest company on earth. Because to me, that is the difference maker. OpenAI is it is the kind of the driver of the new internet. Let's just say, .com bubble back then. We had search engines fine. And then we kind of went into shopping, banking. Now it's artificial intelligence. I say stick with the leader of OpenAI. Yes, there's Gemini with Google. Fair enough. You also have Grok with X, which is Twitter. You can invest in Tesla if you want a piece of that. Tesla pulled back. I'll take a look at that here in a second. But I think whoever owns OpenAI or owns a piece of that is going to be the most valuable company. Microsoft's right behind NVIDIA, but NVIDIA has been absolutely on fire. Speaking of NVIDIA is going to soar above 175. Got the dip, got the pullback, got a bull flag on the daily and the 1 hour. If you want to take a look, just got to get above 175. Almost there. Once you do, looks like 180 is coming. The best you can look at there. What else we got? Let's say Hood. Hood, we've traded a lot this year. Bull flag, maybe? Oh, yeah. I wouldn't trade this for earnings, but it does look interesting above 106 to 115. I can't say it's terrible looking. I've just traded the hell out of it, and you can see flag here takes a little bit. But if we could buy some time, maybe we'll get a crack at it. Let's see if we can do 107. 107 breaks. Then we can target the 110s. Again, we do not have to trade earnings. We could wait till after. For example, Tesla. We did Tesla calls right off this double bottom, rode this up, pulled back, but I got 40%. It got as high as I think a bag, 100%. We had the 325 calls for this upcoming week. I closed them out already for masterclass, but 323.52 is where we got. We got the pullback. Now we're at 317. Here is the breakdown for masterclass when I sent it. Here you go. 325 calls at 375. This right here hit the trade blast or trade flash. And I hit the tape. The August 1, 325 calls for 383. Someone spent 84 grand on it. He had a double bottom here at the 300s. So we filled. And then more buying came in, 90 grand. Got 32%, 40%, like you saw. I took my 40% because Open Door killed me. Open Door sucked for me, at least. Everyone else got it. I'm happy. But I left this on the table, 202%. It happens. But I had some other trades that I did, so I'm all good. But that's Tesla. If we break above 325 again, I would definitely prefer a long trade. That seems to be resistance there. Let's just see if we break the highs. And we'll get a crack at Tesla, but we'll see what we get. Google, if you are holding, you got an upward trend line here above 195. You'll get to 197.50. That's what we're looking for, the 200 calls. But again, that was something that if people wanted to get out of ahead of time, they probably did. So again, if you're holding, I'm with you. If you're not, all good. Earnings are basically over with Google. Back to pivoting on earnings. Let's take a look at Apple. Apple and Amazon, and then we'll wrap it up here. Okay, we'll go to the daily. 220 is my alert, and I'm looking for a breakout. Problem is you got the 200 right there at 222. We're going to need that to break. So 220 is going to be our first alert. If we break 222, we can target up to 230 and to 235. Fair enough? And if we break down below 205, this is a short. So I wouldn't be surprised if Apple pulls back. They need to have some growth. Amazon, again, filled the gap here. I was a week early. But I still like a bit more room to the upside on Amazon if we break above 236.09. But we may get a pullback here as well. You can see kind of this same IBM type upward wedge. And what happens if we break below 229? Yeah, a little bit of bearish action, unfortunately. So let's see what we get in terms of Amazon. Might just bounce off the 20-day. The 20-day, we haven't been below it since June 23rd, and it's been holding really since April 23rd. So 224 might be support short term. Be careful on Amazon. I would not trade the earnings on this one either. If you feel the need to, TQs are probably your best bet for the same week. That's how I see it anyways. And let's see ExxonMobil. One more for the road. Let's see the daily. Got that trend line here. Yeah, kind of sideways here. Not exactly any edge. If you own the stock XOM, it's because of the yield or dividends. So there's not much there. And again, we've traded oil before. We shorted Oxy. If you guys remember, I think a couple of weeks ago. Yeah, this just looks like a mess. So sorry, Chevron Oil. We're going to have to skip you this time. But that's where we are for the week, team. Looking forward to all week. We have so much coming up. So I will be on the radio 8:45 in the morning on our Discord answering questions. 8 o'clock in the morning, I always give kind of our updates of our positions. Every day after the bell, we give our recap. So we're here this whole gauntlet week. It's been a while since we had one. A gauntlet week to me is earnings in the Fed, but we kind of know what the Fed's going to do, so not too much pressure. It's another week, more profits. We just keep it moving. We stick to the system, which is using technical analysis, reading the tape, reading what's happening in the economy, watching the dollar, watching the VIX, watching bond yields, integrating all of that fundamental analysis and technical analysis to really generate the alpha that we want to get. And that's what we've been doing. So a great week last week. We still got more to go. What's done is done. The past is the past. It's now to move forward. And let's get another undefeated week under our belt. I hope we do. And we'll leave it there. Have a great rest of your afternoon. Happy Sunday, everybody. And I will see you tomorrow for the opening bell. Cheers all.